Okay, so we've cut our canvas, we've cut our horsehair, we've cut our body canvas, we made the wedges, and now we're gonna put it all together. So you need to turn your wedges that are cut into actual dart, or into, yeah, darts, finished product. So it's gonna, at the end, look like this. You have two ways to go about doing this. You either cut lining, regular lining, like this, on the bias. So as we learned before, there's a straight grain going north-south, and there's a straight grain going east-west. And if you angle them, it's the bias. So there's a stretch to it. So you could actually pull it and stretch it. So either cut this lining on the bias, or you use this, which is called fuse. I have made thousands of canvases in my career. I've made them all with this, and I've made them all with this. I would be the first person to tell you that fusible interfacing, which is basically iron-on glue fabric, is a joke and should never be used in a garment, especially a bespoke garment. However, I cannot find an instance in making up a canvas where it is superior to use a lining than it is to use a fusible interfacing. And it cuts the time by a little bit, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You guys, if you wanna be purists and wanna be legitimate, and cut your teeth the way you should cut your teeth as an apprentice, you should make your canvas with fusible, or with lining, cut on the bias. Again, I'm using fusible interfacing. If you don't like it, I don't care. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your fusible interfacing. I'm gonna do one dart, and then you guys will see how it's done. I'm gonna do the rest off camera, and then we'll continue as we go. So what you're gonna do is, with your fusible interfacing, you're gonna cut a strip. I'm gonna cut this off because that's too small anyway. Okay, so you're gonna cut a strip, make it about, I don't know, a couple centimeters in width, and you're gonna need a few strips because a lot of them are needed for this job. So we're gonna cut 3 to start. Okay. Next, you're gonna get your sleeve board, your press board. Looks like this. Okay. Now, on our canvases, when we cut them out, we marked a few things. So we marked our break line here of our lapel, and we marked our shoulder line here, and we marked our straight grain there. Okay, or our straight a piombo, spalla, there. Okay, so we're gonna make sure that our fuse, or even our lining, is on that side of the canvas. Okay, so when I put this on, I'm not gonna put it on underneath our marked lines so that it doesn't show, so that it's not showing up, but I'm gonna put it like this on our marked line, so that we can see that, and we can see our fuse as well. The reason behind that is just because this part of the canvas is going to be facing the interior of the jacket, the body part of the jacket. This part of the canvas here is not. Okay, so this is going to be what is facing the cloth of our jacket. Okay, so we don't want extra layers pumping through here because you might be able to see it on lighter weight cloth. So what we want is, we want to keep this side as smooth as possible. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to keep our fuse on the other side. So what we're going to do, it's quite simple. You just put your fuse down with the glue side up. You can tell the glue side because it's got the little white marks on it, while the other side doesn't. All right. And you're going to take your glue side up, and you're going to close your wedge. Okay. The other thing you want to do is you want to add a little bit of fullness into this. All right. So that's going to help make this dart more pronounced. So when I say fullness, you can see right here that this edge of the canvas is longer than this edge of the canvas because we cut a wedge out of it. But what we want to do is we want to kind of get that to match. Not fully, because like right now, this is like what, 1.5 centimeters? That's too much. You're going to have far too much fullness in there. It's going to create a bunch of rumples. But we want to make it kind of more like 0.5 centimeter. So we want to get a centimeter full of fullness in there. Okay? And I use the word fullness because I was trained in Italy, and in Italy they use the word morbidezza, and morbidezza kind of means softness or fullness, and that's the word I choose to use. If you don't like it, choose another word that's synonymous with that. cut off your excess fuse. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your water spray bottle and you're gonna wet down the entire length of what you need to do. I'm always controlling this with this finger, so I wanna make sure these two stay like that even while I'm pressing. While you press, this area that's wet is going to adhesive itself, I don't even think that's a word, but whatever, to the fuse, and then those two are gonna stay together via adhesive. And then it's also gonna shrink this extra bit out, and that's gonna help us make this dart more darty. Okay, let me make sure that everything's where it should be, so that it didn't shift, because it totally did. And we're gonna redo that. And now, pick up your iron and put it down. And let it sit there for a little bit. Okay, and then on this side, we're just gonna kind of ease that softness, fullness into there. And again, pick up your iron and put it down. Okay, we're gonna leave this here for a little bit so we make sure that all the steam goes through the fuse, and so the fuse glues itself to the canvas and creates that wedge into a dart and finishes everything off. Okay, so now that we've done that and our canvas is together, but it's floppy, if you will. Okay, so there's nothing really strengthening it. The horsehair will strengthen it over when we put it on top, but at the same time we want this canvas to also have strength to it as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our machine and we're gonna zigzag, okay? If you have one of those plastic machines, you can put it on zigzag and it'll do it itself. If you don't have a plastic machine, which you shouldn't have a plastic machine because we're not gonna use plastic machines as tailors, we're gonna use a good metal machine. Again, I use a Singer, it's a vintage Singer. This one I just got, it's a 201-1, I believe, sometime from the 40s. Or 50s, I don't know, I don't care. So we're gonna put it down on the machine and we're actually gonna put it with the fuse side down again so that we can see where we want to zigzag. So we just want to zigzag down this line right here, okay? So start, turn your light on of your machine, get your thing going in. So I have a knob here on the side of my machine, if you can see right here, and that tells me that it's going forward or backward. Okay, so you're going to control this. My camera person's coming around to show you. So this is my knob. So you're going to control your machine going zigzaggy by this. Okay, so I go forward, I go backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, zigzag all the way down. Okay, so we'll start by going forward, forward, and then just keep it down. Go forward, backward, forward, backward. Oh, except for my bobbin ran out. All right, cut. All right, so like I said, you're just gonna go back and forth, zigzag all the way up, okay? So what I'm doing is controlling the back and forth with my right hand, and I'm pulling the canvas along with my left hand. Okay. Trim that off. Okay, so now you have your wedge is now put together with your fuse, and you've reinforced it with a zigzag stitch, and you're done. If you were doing this with lining, you'd put the lining down, you'd sew a line on the edge of this around, and then up and back up there, and then you'd zigzag all the way back down. And that would be how you put it on with the lining. And you trim away the excess, so your lining one would look like this, okay? So what you're gonna do now, and I'm gonna do it, and you're gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it off camera because if I had to do this with everyone, you'd be sitting here bored, is you're going to make all of these do the same thing. And again, you're gonna add a little bit of morbidezza into all these wedges. So this one will have a little, and here down here, you'll see as well that this guy here, if we make that fit in that corner, there'll be a little bit of morbid exit through there as well. Okay, so that's what you're going to do them all. And then also on your canvas, you'll do them as well, but there's going to be one caveat to that, which we'll get to. So what I'd say on your canvas is put together your chest dart, your underarm dart. Don't do it with your wedge at your shoulder. Leave that open. And then once you've done all that, and I've done all that, we'll reconvene and we'll move on. All right, so we've done all of our stitching on our canvas. So on our body canvas, we have them all fused and all zigzagged like this. Same thing on our horsehair canvas. The wedge at the shoulders still remained open. So you need to, now we have to do two things to prep our horsehair canvas. If we feel right here, we can feel that there's scratchy ends, which is your actual horsehair of the horsehair canvas, okay? So this is actual horsehair sticking out. Now, if you were to wear this, this would fray a little and become really annoying, and the person who's wearing this is not gonna be happy. The same can be said with down here. This will fray, and then you'll have a little bit poking out, and the person wearing it will not be happy. So we need to cover it, and we need to keep this part here open, okay? So for the opening, you need to get another piece of body canvas, and you need to cut a triangle on the bias, okay? So again, the bias is the stretchy, okay? So what we're going to do is take a ruler, make sure that we mark that stretchy part, and then we know that our wedge, if we measure it, is about 6 centimeters deep. So we're gonna make this longer than that, so we've got plenty of room to work with. So we'll make it 8 centimeters deep. Okay, and then our width, we're gonna have our wedge open up about 1.5 to 2 centimeters in total. So make your wedge a good, 4 or 5 centimeters, just so that you've got, again, plenty of room. We want to give ourselves plenty of room so that we're not working harder than we need to. Okay, so there's our wedge. And we need 2 of them because there's 2 sides to our canvas. So just put this down just like that. And cut the 2 wedges out. So when we cut out our canvas, we cut this area right here, which is kind of like the arm hole. Usually there's enough extra right here that we can use that armhole as our cover for our bottom of our chest canvas. However, this one canvas that I just cut out was a little bit of a bigger man, and so because of that, we didn't have the room for that. So instead, we're just going to use another piece. So what you're just going to do is you're going to place your canvas down, your horsehair, and make sure that it fits, and this one does. And we're going to make sure it's on the straight. So I'm going to mark there. I'm going to mark there. And then I'm just going to mark down a good amount. Okay. We're going to connect our 2 marks. And then we're just going to kind of make a shape like that. Okay, cut it out. And you need 2 of them, right? Because there's 1 on each side. This is not an exact science, okay? This is not the most important thing in the world to get absolutely 100% equal. It's of no consequence. All we're doing is covering up this area so that these pokies don't poke out, okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your wedges, which I have over here, and those are going to go there and keep that open. And then this right here is going to go and cover up that right there. Okay, so I've marked on my canvas which side I want up, because believe it or not, you will at some point in your career make 2 of the exact same facing canvases, and then you'll have to open them up and do it again. So mark what side is up so that you know. that they are mirror images of each other. Because if not, then if you do this side, you're going to have two of the exact same thing. So make sure you mark up. I'm going to sew these. When I'm done, we'll continue on. All right, so now that we've sewn up all our pieces on our horsehair and we've got our body canvas all set, now we need to marry the two, okay? So I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. So basically what you have now is on your canvas, your body canvas, or sorry, your horsehair canvas, you have a shape that looks like this, okay? So you'll have chest here, and then you have this piece that's kind of coming out, that's creating a hollow in this area right here, okay? So you can kind of see that. If I hold this like this, you can see how that looks. All right, so we'll go back to the feel up game again, okay? So our chests have this feeling, this kind of cylindrical feeling right in this area. Then it comes back on itself here, and then we have the shootout for the shoulders. Someone like me who has more forward shoulders, again, you're going to feel that more than someone who doesn't, but everybody has that, okay? So this hollow right here, beep, 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 right there, that is for that, okay? So we are going to create with our canvas the shape of the chest, okay? The same thing that we've done on our body canvas. Now, you have to figure this out for yourself because you're an apprentice and you are not at the age or the skill level for me to tell you this. And I don't, you know, I'm not going to put this out there. I don't trust any of you. So, so what it's going to be is I'm just going to show you what it's supposed to look like, and you need to figure out how to create that wedge. There are plenty of people out there that will tell you how to create that wedge. No one is going to tell you how I create my wedge, because my wedge is very, very specific to what I want my coats to look like. Okay, so on your body canvas as well, we can see here. All right, so here is chest right there. And when I push that like that, that becomes that hollow right there. So both body canvas and horsehair canvas, chest canvas, need to have the same shapes going on so you can marry them together correctly, okay? So when we do that, we need to base them in together in the way that we want them to be, okay? So I'm gonna break this down for you rather quickly. As far as my knowledge, right? Because I'm not trained in the English methodology at all. I've only seen what I've seen through videos on Instagram, videos on YouTube, and just people showing what they're cutting and working with. I'm pretty sure that the English have not, at this point in their work, cut any of these wedges. So for them to put it together and marry them together, it's going to be quite easy, okay? Because they're both kind of 2D at this point. They're going to pad stitch them together, and then they're going to cut their wedges. As far as I've seen, someone can correct me on this, because it doesn't make any sense to me. So if I've seen it wrong, it would make I'd sleep better at night. But if I haven't seen it wrong, I'd love someone to explain this to me because I don't get it. 2, if it's most Italian cuts, they're going to have very little wedging going on in their canvases, okay? So it's going to be quite easy for them to marry them together. Most of them will just kind of put the two together and then just do a quick basting stitch straight down and then start, you know, pad stitching them. My goal on my suits is to have only this. So this right here is all the foundation I use. Horsehair canvas and body canvas. That's it. I don't add the dormite or the flannel here. I don't add another shoulder pad. I don't add anything else. So in order for me to get the shape that I want out of my suits, I create lots of different wedges, and I accentuate them more. And so it becomes a lot more difficult for me and my tailors to marry them together because, again, you have to be able to keep all these shapes together in the right spot that you want them, and then be able to pad stitch them together so that they formulate together, okay? The other thing is horsehair canvas is very malleable, all right, over time. So the great thing about horsehair canvas is the longer that the client wears it, the more that it will adhere itself to the shape that it is surrounded by, i.e. the body that's wearing it, okay? That also will happen as we put these two pieces together. So the horsehair canvas will kind of mold itself to the body canvas. So if your wedges aren't exactly right or 100% perfect, they're still gonna come together rather well. Okay. So that being said, if you're following my methodology and you're working through it and you're able to understand where these wedges are and how much to take out of them, then this process will be difficult for you. If you're following someone else's methodology, then this process might be easier than what I'm going to show you. If you're doing it the English way, well, then I can't help you at all. So might as well move on. Again, I think I've said that 1,000 times, but that's my thought process. Look, it's kind of like cooking, right? So if you went into Master Chef and you wanted to be his sous chef or her sous chef, and you wanted to, start from the bottom up, and your passion was, Taiwanese cooking, then going into an Italian and learning how to cook Italian may not be fully right for you to do, right? If your end game is to be a certain type of chef cooking a certain type of cuisine, you're going to go and search out the person who's going to teach you that methodology of cooking, because every region, every country has its own methodology of cooking in regards to the spices they use and the meat products even they use and things like that. So it's the same thing with this. If you're trying to become an English tailor, there's not very many of us out there that are doing this on YouTube. I think there's a guy who's doing the English thing on YouTube or Patreon or something. Go find him, okay? If not, if you want to learn how to make Italian cut suit with an Eric Jensen flair to it, then you've come to the right spot, because that's what I'm going to show you how I do it, how I make coats, how I do everything, okay? I don't know if that was a long diatribe, but that is what it is. So I'm going to rotate the camera down a little bit, and then we're gonna figure this part out, okay? All right, camera's rotated down. This is our canvas. This is our horsehair. We're on the wrong side, but we'll flip it over now. So what you want to do is now work from the side that you've made marks on. So we marked our break line here, and we've marked our shoulder line there. So that's the side that you want facing up, because those are going to be your guidelines. And I say this only because in order for me on my canvas to get my wedges to work in the way that I want them to, I need things to stay straight, okay? I need things to stay, I guess straight's the best idea. It's hard for me to describe this in a manner that you're going to understand, but at the same time, that's the word I'm going to use, okay? Your tools at this point are going to be needle and thread and thimble, which I can never find, and I don't know where mine is. Oh, right here in my pocket. Okay. I'm keeping that in because that's normal for tailors, is we can't find anything. We lose everything. Okay, so needle, thread, thimble, another roll of basting thread so that you can continue pulling stuff off and working, and I'm going to look for that as well because I've lost that too. Yeah. There we go, it's on the floor. Basting thread. You're also going to need your press board and this thing. This is a mezzaluna. It is a half moon shape of wood with good rise, 2-3 centimeters. I don't know. Okay, this is essential. Honestly, guys, if you don't have this, you're in trouble. Okay, everything is based off of this mezzaluna. It's one of the most important things we have. This is how we shape our coats when we press them. This is how we put canvas in. This is how we put marry canvas together. This is how we do a lot of things. This is how we put pockets. So when you want to make a pocket on the hip, right, of the coat, you put it on here. All right, because that's going to instill the shape of that pocket when you're basting it together, and then when you sew it together so that it creates this hip action right here, okay? My coats use the pocket as a buttress, almost like a bridge would be. So when I do a first fitting on my coats, this area right here in the body of the coat is floppy, all right? Because I use the pocket as a buttress in order to keep the shape of the hip where my dart comes into. And so that's how I get shape. Not how I only way I get shape, but one of the main ways that I get shape into my coats is by using a mezzaluna in order to put the pocket, when I make the pocket, in order to create that shape there. It's an important aspect. So mezzaluna, everybody get a mezzaluna. See, you can see, probably better on her. But do you see that shape? That's from dart and pocket. That's an important thing. Anyways, let's off subject. Okay. You're gonna put your mezzaluna down on the table. Okay. And I am going to put the flat side of the mezzaluna towards me, and I'm going to set up my canvas on it. All right, and I have my break line of my jacket, which is the fold line of the lapel, right there, and I'm going to extend it. Okay, because I need to redraw this line now that I've put this dart in. All right, so I'm redrawing that line so that I know that it's there. Then I'm going to take my canvas, make sure that the side that I want is up, which is the side that has the fuse on it, and this part covering and that part wedging. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's how you put the front cover on. See, so it's covering the canvas there. The back side, which is this side, is the canvas is free because that layer is going to go here, and so that's going to be covered by this canvas, the body canvas. And then the wedge looks like that in the shoulder. So all you did is just put that wedge in and open it up to 1.5 to 2 centimeters and then sewed it, okay? Now, take your basting thread, your basted threaded needle, and we're going to put our canvas not on our break line, but about 1 centimeter behind it towards me, okay? And you're gonna baste a straight stitch, keeping that canvas the same distance from the break line all the way down. Okay. Sorry, I need to go back. I forgot to do one other thing. So I'm gonna undo my stitches because I'm talking to you and I'm not paying attention. Okay, the other thing is you wanna make sure that your canvas covers enough of where we drew our shoulder line, okay? So we need to shift this up, mine that I have here, just a smidge. More higher up towards the shoulder or above the shoulder of the canvas, okay? Now we're gonna run a straight running stitch, keeping it straight. So we're keeping it equidistant from our break line, from the top all the way through the middle down to the bottom. Okay, next we're going to do another running stitch parallel to that, maybe 3 centimeters from our first line. Okay, and this is keeping this edge here straight to parallel to the break line. And this is important for my way that I cut canvas and want my shoulder wedge to sit. If you aren't doing it this way, you don't need to make as many stitches. But I do suggest that for an apprentice, you take the time to do these stitches because it'll help you control the canvas, okay? And where it ends up while you're pad stitching it. It's just a much, in my opinion, it's a much better thing to do as an apprentice. It just keeps you organized, if you will. All right, next thing that I need to do, because my shoulder wedge is very specific and the way in which I have it work is very specific as well, I need to have it controlled, the wedge, and I needed to control it it's very important to keep it controlled, okay? So my wedge here only works if the sew line is straight, okay? So this right here needs to be straight. It can't be crooked, can't do any weird dog leg or anything like that. It needs to be straight. And so you can see, if you look right here, when I make it straight, it creates that hollow that I need, okay? If I don't make it straight, then the hollow comes up here, all right? Or even will end it or work its way over there. So I need to control my wedge. So I'm going to do that by making sure that it stays straight on the canvas. Okay, so I'm just going to base that onto the canvas in a fashion that keeps it straight. All right, next, what we need to do is continue the process of attaching our canvas to our horsehair canvas to our body canvas. So what I do now, and a lot of people only do this on the other side, so a lot of people always base everything on this side, okay? But when we're making our canvas, especially on this lower half, we're rolling the canvas like this, all right? So if you think about people running around a track, right? So when you run around a track and you're in the Olympics, they don't put everybody in the same line, right? If you're going around a circle, they don't put everyone in the same line. They scatter people, right? Because the distance between 2 points, when you go around a circumference, right? The first person around that circumference, the innermost lane, has the least amount of distance to go than the guy who's even one lane outside from that person, or the one 2, 3, 4 lanes out, right? So in the same manner that when you have two pieces of cloth, okay, like this, and you are putting them around something, like you're rolling them, the distance from here to here is less than the distance from there to there. Even millimeter-y it is, okay? So you always need to think about that when you're working. And you also need to realize that if something on the inside is tight, then the outside will be soft. And if the inside's soft, the outside will be tight. So if I have two things like this and they're married together, right? Excuse me. And they're married together just like this. If I pull this loose, this will stay tight. And if I pull this tight, then this has to loosen up, okay? If you don't understand it, don't worry. You don't need to understand it. You just need to know the rule, okay? If two things are on top of each other and one is tight, then the other one is loose. And if one is loose, the other one is tight, okay? So always think like that, especially when you're putting in canvas to your fabric, especially when you're putting in lining and when you're putting in facings or anything like that, okay? That's the rule of thumb that you always need to remember. Whatever is tight, the other thing's loose. Whatever is loose, the other thing's tight. Okay, so that being said, I don't baste this from here because I'm rolling it this way, so I want to control it from the inside, from the body canvas side, not the horsehair canvas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my mezzaluna around, and I'm going to put my canvas in that crater. All right, so now it's creating that shape here, and the mezzaluna's doing that, and so all I need to do is just put everything together, or baste it now together down a straight line. And what's going to happen is the mezzaluna is going to do the job for me. So I'm just going to go straight down the row. All the way down until I hit the end of my horsehair canvas little piece, okay? Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, because that I want to keep my shoulder wedge clean, and I don't want to mess with it yet until I have to patch stitch it together, I'm going to now create just another basting line on the outside of my body canvas, okay? So it kind of just goes like that. And again, I'm doing it from the inside out because it's a better way to marry these two together. In my opinion, if you disagree with me, you can leave a comment and I won't respond because I don't care. This is how I do it, and you spent the time watching me do it. So if you disagree, you just wasted whatever. This is gonna be like an hour of your life, but whatever. All right. All right, so now if you're making canvas my way, and I'm going to show you, we've got everything together real nice. We've got our opening right here for the hollow of our shoulder. We've got our chest right there. And then what we have also is down here where we've made this. See, we've got these two little openings right here. So what we want to do is we want to turn those into darts, because my canvas builds the chest and then the chest comes in on itself for the waist, okay? So kind of creating an artifice. So the canvas in my coats, okay, is creating an artifice. What I want to do is give my clients something they don't have, which is the body of an Adonis, right? Without putting a bunch of canvas in there, a bunch of flannel and a bunch of shoulder pads and all that stuff. What I want it to do is I want my foundation, which is my canvas, to be as light as humanly possible, but also allow the wearer to have a body shape that they don't have, which is a body shape, in my opinion, that we all wish we had, which was some semblance of an hourglass, like a muscular one, like, you know, something that has shape to it, right? So my canvas does that, but in order to do that, I need to turn these two things into darts. So I'm going to do that, and the best way to do that is to just take your scissor, cut a notch up and a notch over, and do the same thing on the bottom one. Okay, and now those two pieces will sit with the canvas, with the body canvas, okay? So now, I'm gonna break my, so here, for those of you that wanna be able to see this. Okay, this is my two running lines that I did right there. I tacked down my dart straight and continued that all the way down to there. And then I did one more stitch controlling the outside edge of my canvas, just like that. All right, so next thing. Most people, when they pad stitch, they're just gonna go one way, right? They're gonna go up, down, 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 the whole way. Okay, that's how 90% of the Italians are gonna do it. I think I've seen the English do it like that, but sometimes they do it two ways. So they'll go up, down, this lower part, and then they'll go that way, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, all the way up to the top. I do a pseudo like that, but a little bit different. So again, chest, barrel, then up here, into itself, then here, out, right? Okay, so we build our canvas, or we pad stitch our canvas in the same way. So somewhere around this wedge area right here, I draw a line straight across. Okay, and then I reform my canvas, and I reform my wedge. And then I want to use that wedge, and I want to enhance it by the way that I pad stitch. So I'm going to draw a slight kind of half U almost, if you will. Okay, and it kind of goes like that. So on my canvas, there's my line that goes straight across. There's my half U that goes like that. So in this section here, I go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. This section here, I go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, all the way there. And on this, I just go at an angle, boop, 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 out that way. All right. So I'm gonna pad stitch this, and I don't know if you guys need to see me pad stitching. It takes probably about an hour, maybe 30 minutes aside, an hour total, somewhere in there. So you don't need to see this, but I'm telling you that it takes this long because there are people who are watching this channel. I'm gonna sit down. So there are people who are watching this channel who don't care to make a suit whatsoever, but they may want to see the amount of work that goes into one, because bespoke suits are not cheap, and in my opinion, people should be buying something that's worth the money that they're investing in it. And I always tell this to my clients because they always ask, you know, or when we talk about like the aesthetics of things, and they say, you know, how big they want their lapel and whatnot, and I tell them, the best thing you can do when you're ordering a bespoke suit is be timeless, right? So you don't want your lapel too giant, you don't want it too small, you want it kind of a nice happy medium that has enough expression and beauty to it, but not something where someone's going to say that that's dated in X amount of years. And the reason why is because I spend 80 hours of work to make one jacket, 80 hours. And the client spends X amount of dollars on that one jacket, right? So between the two of us, we've invested a lot of time and money into this jacket. And if it goes out of style in a year or two, then it's shame on them and shame on me, okay? Shame on both of us. So in the same way that I want to show that a client puts in, well, the reason why the client is investing the amount of money into their bespoke suit is because not the name. Like, who cares? No one knows who Eric Jensen is, and in you know, 50 years from now when I'm dead, no one's gonna think back about, you know, how incredible this Eric Jensen was. No, not at all. The reason why they're paying the amount of money that they're paying for the suits that I make is because of the time and effort and care that goes into it, right? It's the exact opposite of off the rack, right? So off the rack wants to turn and burn things, right? So they make it as quick as possible so that you can have it right away, and then you can wear it out the store, and in 1 year from now, your off the rack suit's falling apart, and you buy another one, right? So it's a throwaway game. I've been making suits on my own since 2018. I've made for my first client that I've ever had, he still has his coat or his suit from 2019. He still wears it religiously. You know, that's a 6-year-old coat. It's going to last another 20, 25, 30 years if he takes care of it. So that being said, that's, I guess, why I'm going to not show the pad stitching, but I'm going to tell you about it. Man, that was a really long explanation for nothing. Hopefully people can just skip through that part. But anyways, so plan on it taking, when you first start, I would say maybe an hour aside. You know, it takes me about 30 to 45 minutes aside. So it'd be about an hour and a half just to pad stitch this. No one's ever going to see it either. What I will do here to start, I'll show you how we start, because it's you know, kind of important for people learning, especially if you don't have a clue what you're doing. I don't have my camera person with me right now, so I'm gonna do some and then I'll show you it, and then we'll go from there. So first thing, what I'm first going to do on my press board is I'm just going to close up the dart wedges that I made earlier. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is get another needle and some regular sewing thread, okay? And what you're going to do is just grab a length of regular sewing thread. Thread your needle. Don't knot it, just leave it free. I sit at a chair and in front of my table, okay? And I do this on my knee. All right, so put my knee up on my table, brace it. start a TV show, get your favorite album going, get a movie going, whatever the heck you want. And you're going to pad stitch your canvas. So you're going to fold your canvas in half and roll it, basically. And you're going to start in the center half of where we're going only up and down. Okay, so I don't start up here and I don't start down here and go all the way up there. I start where I'm only going up and down, and I go about halfway into the middle of the canvas, which is about where my chest start is. Okay, now you're going to push your needle through, going from right to left. All right, and we're just gonna push it through and pull our thread, and then we're gonna back stitch so that it locks it, and then we're gonna go down, I don't know, 1.5 centimeters, straight down. And again, you're gonna push your needle in from right to left, and then we're gonna keep going down about another 1.5 centimeters, push your needle in right to left. And I'm gonna do this for a little bit because right now I'm on the fuse and it's black and my thread is black. And then if I show you guys what this looks like, you're gonna not know at all what it looks like because it's hard to see. So you're gonna keep doing this motion straight down. Okay, 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeters down, go from right to left. And then continue and continue. Once you get to the bottom, you're gonna go right behind, maybe a little bit behind where your stitch came out, and you're gonna go right to left. Excuse me. And then you're gonna go about another 1.5 centimeters, just above where your other stitch was. This will it'll make more sense when I show you. Okay, right to left, and then up just above where your last stitch was. Right to left, up just above where your last stitch was. Okay, I'm going to do this real fast. I just want to get to a section where I can show you kind of what you're looking at and we can kind of map it out. Okay, I just need to get past this fuse because the fuse is black and you guys won't be able to see it. And if you can't see it, then someone's going to write a comment in the bottom and they're going to be all nasty about it. And someone's going to say, I don't like teaching anybody. And in reality, I don't like teaching anybody, but I'm doing this because I'm a nice guy. And I don't know why people leave nasty comments when a nice guy is teaching somebody something that no one else is teaching them. Anyways, okay, I'm just going down a little bit longer just to get past this point. Okay, and this is pad stitching. Like this is we're humans. We have human hands, human eyes. There's no need for perfection here. Not every stitch has to be exactly the same length and size. What you do want to make sure is that your stitches or your lines are relatively straight. I mean, you don't need to get out a ruler on this one, but just want to make them relatively straight. Sorry. Let me get some water real fast. Okay. So what we're doing are these little triangle stitches, all right? So in order to stitch them, I'm gonna get another camera going. So I used up my other one. And so we do a forward stitch and then a back stitch. Okay, so that locks it. Now my next stitch is gonna be right behind where my previous stitches down the row was, okay? So I go like that, again, right to left, pull it. Back, right to left, pull it. Right behind the next one, right to left, pull it. So you're making these little triangles, all right? All the way up and down the canvas. And again, so once you get to the end, most people don't know what to do, but all you do is just kind of go back behind where your stitch came out, do another right to left stitch, all right? And then come down behind where your last one was. Okay, and that's how it is. And all the while I'm controlling everything with my fingers behind here, all right? And you're gonna, when you base this, there might be some fullness on your body canvas, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're not gonna force that into anything. You don't wanna force that fullness to go anywhere. So usually by about here, you're gonna have a lot of fullness. Just open up these basting stitches and continue on, and then open up these basting stitches and continue on. The difference is not gonna be massive, all right? But again, you're gonna do that all the way up and down, up and down. When you get to the end, you're gonna start over again, and you're gonna start back up here where you started the other one, but you're gonna flip your canvas over like that. Okay, so you go up, down here, and then here we're going right, left, right, left, right, left, and then here we're going like that, okay? I'm gonna finish this up, and then when I'm done, I'll show you the final product. I'll show you how we press it, and then that'll be it for canvas. Okay, so now that you've pad stitched it, okay, so we've got the angles there, we got the left to rights here, and we got the up downs there. Okay, now you gotta press it in order to get that shape in and to shape it the way that you want it to be shaped. Okay, so we pad stitched it like this, but we're going to press it so that our canvas side is up, okay? Our horsehair canvas side is up. All right, so you're gonna take your mezzaluna and you're going to place your canvas in like this. So yeah, so what we're doing is we're pressing it canvas side up so the horsehair will curve inward, okay? I don't know if you can see that, but whatever. So your horsehair is gonna curve inward. This part right here, the horsehair is gonna be against the chest, and the part that doesn't have the horsehair is gonna be against the cloth or on the outside, towards the outside of the coat. So put it on your mezzaluna halfway so that the center of the chest is kind of sits right in there. It'll fall in there real nice. You don't really have to push it. You're gonna add some water. Okay, and then we're just gonna do our standard pressing of a kind of up down or pick up put down kind of thing. So what we're doing now is we're reinforcing the shape. I have seen some people on even YouTube who do all this pad pressing or all this pad stitching, creating this beautiful shape, and then they press it flat. And I don't know why you would do that. That doesn't make any sense to me. If you've built all this shape into it, you want to keep that shape every time you press it. So every time we press our coat, we're going to press it with the mezzaluna so that we reinforce the shape that we've already done with our hands. If you don't do that, it's just, you're wasting your time. I don't understand it. So always, whenever you press anything, press it with the idea of the shape that you've put into it. Because if not, then it's just a waste of time. So when you press your coat, even when the pocket where the hip is, you want to press that on a curve so you reintroduce that shape to it. And whenever you press your chest, you press it on a curve so you reintroduce that shape into it. The bottom of the hem of the jacket, the hem, the skirt of it, you press it on a curve as well so that you keep that shape. Always keep the shape that you've introduced into the cloth throughout every time that you press the cloth, because pressing something flat returns it back to being dead, which is dumb, in my opinion. The only time that I'd ever press anything flat is usually when I press the back side of the lapel, and that's in order to keep the cloth to be a little more shrunk on the back side than the front side, so you keep that curve of the lapel that you've pressed into it, or that you've built into it through doing pad stitching. It doesn't make sense to press a jacket flat. These aren't dead flat objects. These are three-dimensional objects. You want to keep their three-dimensionality to them. So don't stick this on your table and just press it flat. That's just stupid. So now that we've done one side, we're going to do the other side. So you flip your mezzaluna around, you put the canvas in the same spot, add a little bit of water, and then press that shape back into it. I don't do much pressing at my shoulder because I don't want to, again, press that flat, and I don't have mezzaluna or anything kind of shapy that will give me that hollow, so I don't put a lot of pressing on that. I just pressed it a smidge without the water, just to kind of flatten, or not flatten everything, but smooth everything out. Okay, and then once you've done all that, you can check your work. So get rid of your Mezzaluna. Put your canvas down, and you can see already how much shape we've already got in here. So you've got a great shape for your chest. We've got our hollow for our shoulder. And what I have by doing my pad stitching and the wedge that I cut in here is you can see how this goes down and in to the shoulder. So it's not a full, you're not having any fullness up here or any shape up here. You're actually going down and into the shoulder. And then you have this part here, which is the hollow of the shoulder, right in there. Okay, so right in there where the rotator cuff is. That's how you do a canvas. So we've showed you now how to lay out your pattern, showed you how to cut it, we showed you how to cut canvas, and I've showed you how to build canvas. You guys are well ahead of the curve. And so from here, you're gonna have to learn how to put the canvas into the coat. I'm not gonna do that for a while. Maybe I'll do some other things in the meantime. Try to show you. I've got a pretty busy schedule coming up for the next few months or a few weeks, so probably won't be able to post anything for a while after this one. But remember to like and subscribe and to share, and to tell your mom to like and subscribe and to share, and everybody else that you can kind of figure out, because that way we get more followers, and more followers means you get more information. I think we're at 800 and something right now, so we got to get up there a little bit further. Anyways, any questions or comments, gestures down at the bottom. If you don't like what I'm doing, I don't care. You don't have to tell me you don't like it. Just move on, because this is obviously not for you. And if you want to learn this, this is the best way to learn it. Someday maybe I'll tell you how I learned this, and you'll be grateful that you have YouTube. Anyways, like, subscribe, hit the dingy button so you know when I post.